We continue now at the top of Daf Zayin Amud Aleph in Meseches Shabbos. This is Shabbos Daf 7a. The Gemara left off with a question that in one place Bika is referred to as a Carmelis, and in another place it's referred to as Rishus HaYachid. We saw Ula's answer to this question, that really when it calls it a Rishus HaYachid, it just means it's not a Rishus HaRabim, but it really is a Carmelis. Now Rav Ashi answers, could go in the Islam Mechitzos. Rav Ashi says, in the case where the Bika, the valley, is referred to as Rishus HaYachid, it actually has walls surrounding it. And it follows that which Ula said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Karfeif Yoser mi Beis Soasayim Shalohukaf Ladira. That's a Karfeif that's bigger. That's a big plot of land that's bigger than a Beis Soasayim, which is not surrounded in order for you to live in there. Vafilu Kor, Vafilu Kurayim, even larger amounts of land, the Kor or a Kurayim, Hazorek Lesocho Chayiv. If you throw into that area, you are Chayiv. My time, what's the reason? Mechitzahi, that's considered real walls. Elosh Mechuseres Diurin, just that people don't live there. In other words, the point of the statement of Ula in the name of Rabbi Yochanan is that the Mechitzos make it Midoraisa a Rishus HaYachid, even though it's not fully considered Rishus HaYachid Midrabban, we'll see in Rashi, but it is considered Rishus HaYachid in this case. Rashi says, Kigon de Islam Mechitzos Vashmina de Afagav de Hekefa Yeser mi Beis Asayim Velo Hukaf Ladirish Ein Beis Samachla Kodem Hekef. Even though there's a very large area, you did not surround it to live there, you didn't have any house there. So as far as carrying things in there, we consider it a Carmelis. You're not allowed to carry things. You're only allowed to carry things Daled Amos, no more, just like a Rishus HaRabim. That's all on the Rabbanan level. Nevertheless, on a Doraisa level, it's considered Rishus HaYachid. The walls alone make it Rishus HaYachid. Anyone who throws from Rishus HaRabim into there is going to be considered chayiv. We should do one more Rashi, Kid Ula. This answer of Rav Ashi follows Ula. The Gemara is going to note that it's funny that Rav Ashi's answer follows Ula, and Ula gave a different answer. But anyway, the Rashi explains, the Amar Mechitza hi likros l'Rishus HaYachid, ela shemuchuseres diro l'kachas ro tal tamid rabban. In other words, it's a Mechitza as far as being Rishus HaYachid on a Doraisa level, but it's called a Carmelis also because on a Rabbanan level, since it doesn't have a dira, you're not allowed to carry. Now, if you remember back on Daf Vavam and Beis, it also said that this Carmelis can be considered, if it's in the time when people are passing through, it can be considered Rishus HaRabim as far as Tumma is concerned. So there are walls here. Why would it be considered Rishus HaRabim? We're talking about where there's doors within the wall, so it is possible for traffic to go through. As we mentioned earlier in Daf Vavam and Beis, the whole issue regarding Tumma is simply an issue of whether there's traffic going through the area or not. So now the Gemara continues. Bishlama Rav Ashi lo amar kidula. I understand why Rav Ashi doesn't say like Ula. That makes sense. Ela Ula my time lo amar kashmaite. But why doesn't Ula follow his own opinion? Rav Ashi's answer over here is actually following Ula's opinion. So why doesn't Ula say the same thing that we're talking about where there's walls? Amar Loch, he tells you, Idi Islam mechitzos bika karila karfefi. If it had walls, it would never be called a valley. It would be the wrong term. And therefore, Ula had to say, it would have been called a Karfeif, and therefore Ula preferred to say that we were talking about a Bika without walls, and really it is a Carmelis, and we refer to it as a Rishus HaYachid just to tell you that it's not a Rishus HaRabim. Rav Ashi, Rishus HaYachid Katani. Rav Ashi responds very simply, the Brisa said that this Bika was a Rishus HaYachid. Rishus HaYachid means Rishus HaYachid, it doesn't mean Carmelis, or it doesn't mean not a Rishus HaRabim. Gemara continues now with the two dots, going back to the Brisa we quoted before about the different Rishuyos on Shabbos. Carmelis. So one of the things on the list is Carmelis. So the Gemara asks, Atu kulu nami lav Carmelis ninaway. We mentioned this briefly on the other daf, that all the things in the list are Carmelis. You had a Bika, you had a Yam, all of these things. So why would it list a bunch of things that are Carmelis and then say Vaha Carmelis? Kiyasa Rav Dimi Amar Rabbi Yochanan lo nitzracha elo lekeren zavis hasmuchol Rishus HaRabim. So when we say the word Carmelis, we're adding a case here. Let's say you have a corner of somebody's house that is very close to Rishus HaRabim. That's also considered a Carmelis. The Afagav de Zimnin Dedachki Be Rabim Va'ayli Lagava. Even though sometimes the people are going to walk through that area, Kevan de Lo Nicha Tashmishte Ki Carmelis Dami. Since it's not an area that is pleasant to be used by the Rabim, so it's considered a Carmelis, not part of the Rishus HaRabim. Kiyasa Rav Dimi Amar Rabbi Yochanan Bein Ha'amudin Nidon Kekarmelis. When Rav Dimi came, he said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan that between the pillars in a Rishus HaRabim is considered a Carmelis. Rashi explains what does it mean between the pillars. Bein Ha'amudim Shahayu Amudim Berchava. There were pillars in the street. V'tolen Bahem Hatagor and Pragmatia. The merchants used to hang their wares from these pillars. V'gam Itztabos Hayu Lifneim. They also had these benches, as we mentioned earlier, before them, Leishiv Shamat Takarim, where the Tagarim sat. The idea basically is that there were areas in the Rosh Hashanah that were not easy to be used by the public. So therefore, according to Rav Dimi, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, they have a halach of a Carmelis because Kavan de lo mistagi lu behedya, right? Avagav the Darcy Baram, even though the Ram go, let's start from my time. My time, what's the reason it's considered a Carmelis? Avagav the Darcy Baram, because even though the Ram go through there, Kavan de lo mistagi lu behedya, since they don't really, they're not able to go directly through, they have to go around these Amudim, Carmelis Dami, it has the halacha of a Carmelis. Amar Rav Zera, Amar Rav Yehuda. So Rav Zera says in the name of Rav Yehuda, Itztiva, the benches, these are the same benches Rashi just mentioned. Shelifneha Amudim, which are in front of the pillars, Nidon Kekarmelis, that has the status of a Carmelis. And the Gemara now explains, Laman Amar Bein HaAmudim, according to the one who says between the pillars is considered a Carmelis, Kol Shekain Itztiva, then for sure the benches are considered a Carmelis. Laman Amar Itztiva, but according to the one who says that the benches are considered a Carmelis, Itztiva hu Delo Nicha Tashmishli, that's only true by the benches, which are not easy to be used. But when it comes to between the pillars, which are easy to be used, low, so then those would actually be still considered a Rishus Harabim. Lishna Achrina, a slightly different version of the same idea. If you have between the pillars, which sometimes the Rabbim just walk through that area, that would be considered like a Rishus Harabim. Amar Rabba Bar Shilo, Amar Rav Chisda. Rabba Bar Shilo says in the name of Rav Chisda, Levena Zakufa B'Rishus Harabim. Let's say you have a brick that's standing upright in Rishus Harabim. Vizarak v'tach b'faneha. Person throws and he throws something which is sticky. Maybe it's a pressed fat fig or something like that. So it sticks to the side of this brick. V'tach b'faneha chayiv. Then in such a situation you're chayiv because essentially you threw and it landed in Rishus Harabim. Al gaba potter. But if it lands on top of the item, it's going to be potter because then it's going to be, as we're going to see, it's going to be its own Rishus Midrabban, and it won't be a Rishus Midoraisa, so you're going to be potter. Abaye v'Rava d'Amri Travayu, and Abaye and Rava both explain V'husha gavoa shlosha d'lo darsi l'rab. When we say that you're potter, that it has to be at least 3 tefachim high. Then it has a status of its own Rishus D'Rabbanan, a Rishus Midrabban, like a Carmelis. The Rabbim don't step on it; it's too high, and then you would be considered potter. Aval hizmi v'higi afagav d'lo gavi shlosha. But let's say you have thorn bushes and things like that, which people don't step on, even when they're lower than 3 Tvachim, so that would still be considered a Rishus La'atzman, it would be Midrabbanan. B'chia barav amar afilu hizmi v'higi, but Chia barav says no, even thorns, things that those are still, if they're too low to the ground, they're going to be considered part of their Rishus Harabim. Avol tsoa lo, but if a person has excrement, he throws and it lands on top of the tsoa, so that is certainly something which the people are not going to step on, and therefore it's not considered part of the Rishus Harabim, it's its own Rishus Midrabbanan. Rav Ashi amar, but Rav Ashi says afilu tsoa, no, even tsoa is considered part of the Rishus Harabim. Amar Rabba Dvei Rav Shila Ki Aser Rav Dimi Amar Rav Yochanan. Rabba said it from the yeshiva of Rav Shila that when Rav Dimi came, he said in the name of Rav Yochanan, Ein Carmelis Pechusa Me'arba, that a Carmelis cannot be less than 4 by 4 Tvachim. If it's less than 4 by 4 Tvachim, we've already mentioned this earlier, that's going to be considered a Makom Petur. It's even less than a Carmelis, not even a Rishus Midrabbanan. The Amar Rav Sheshas V'tofesas Ad Asara. Rav Sheshas said that a Carmelis goes up till 10 Tvachim high. My V'tofesas Ad Asara, what does it mean it goes 10 Tvachim high? If you're going to say that it means that a Carmelis needs to have walls 10 Tvachim high, so below, is that really the case that it's not a Carmelis? Let's say case was, let's say you have a house that's not even 10 Tvachim high, but from the outside it is 10 Tvachim high, meaning the roof, the thickness of the roof makes it 10 Tvachim high. Al gago mutar l'taltal b'kula. So on the roof it's considered Rishus Hayachid, you can carry. Besocho ein metalton bo'el l'dalad amos, but within it then you can only carry 4 amos because it's considered a Carmelis, because it's not 10 Tvachim high. So on the contrary, a Carmelis specifically has to have walls below 10 Tvachim. So Elamai, and the idea here was that inside the house it wasn't 10 Tvachim, so inside the house it's not considered Rishus Hayachid, but on top of the house the walls are 10 Tvachim high from the outside perspective, so therefore it's Rishus Hayachid. In any case, you see that a Carmelis does not have to have walls 10 Tvachim high. Elamai v'tofesas ad yud. What does it mean a Carmelis goes up till 10 Tvachim high? The ad yud hu to have a Carmelis, l'malam yud Tvachim lo have a Carmelis. It's up till 10 Tvachim high. You're in the airspace of the Carmelis. Above 10 Tvachim high, it's no longer the airspace of the Carmelis. That is the exact same halacha we saw by Rishus Harabim. By Rishus Harabim as well, it's only Rishus Harabim within 10 Tvachim of airspace. Higher than that, you have exited the Rishus Harabim. It's exactly the same statement that Shmuel said to Rav Yehuda, he said, sharp one, there's nothing in Shabbos above 10 Tvachim. What does he mean? What was he referring to? If he meant that Rishus HaYachid can't be above 10 Tvachim, that's not true. No, it's Kana Rishus HaYachid. Rav Chisda said if you plant a pole in the Rishus HaYachid, v'zarak v'nachal gavav, and it lands up on top of there, you throw something and it lands there, afilu gavoa meya am chayiv, even if it's 100 amos high, it's chayiv, because Rishus HaYachid goes up to the heavens. So clearly he wasn't talking about that, and as the Gemara will go on to say, he was discussing the fact that a carmelist, the airspace does not go, the airspace of a carmelist does not extend to above 10 Tvachim high. We'll continue with Daf Zayin Amud Beis in the next video.